Thank you so much, Kenrick. Good morning, everybody. Welcome here today. My name is Jeff Renault. I am a pastor in Langley. I wanted to say from the outset that it is my honor and privilege to be here to help celebrate Brenda's life, to remember her well, and for us to help us process a little bit as well this morning. I want to say from the outset, thank you so much for being here today on a bit of a rainy Monday morning. I know that it means so much to the family. All of you are here knowing Brenda in different ways. Some of you, part of her community, part of her as neighbors in different groups in different ways, and yet Brenda's our thread that weaves all of us here together. As I said, I think your presence here today means so much to the family, and I think it's also deeply honoring to Brenda's life. We recognize her today. I feel like, in a sense, we walk on sacred ground because we stop and take stock of her life. And even though it's impossible to capture her full life today, we will do our best to kind of capture a little bit of her essence through a few of the elements in the service, as well as mostly through some people who are going to be sharing. I had the chance to meet Brenda, and it was through meeting with Arlene and Brendan a few weeks ago as they introduced me to their mom. And it seemed like she was an absolute incredible individual, as you all know far more than I do. I love that in the obituary that was posted online that it says that Brenda was, quote, unapologetically herself right up until her last breath. From what I got to know of her, she was unique, she was funny, she was kind, she was the epitome of hospitality, and she was the absolute best cheerleader in the world. I was told if you were beside her in a sports game, especially for one of her grandchildren, you do not stand close to Brenda. And she was also someone, you know this too, that she was someone with a song in her heart and a beat in her step. As I met with Arlene and Brendan, I saw proof of this on a video on Brendan's phone. That she was sitting at a picnic of a get-together and the music came on and she just couldn't help but start moving. And I love that. And I think there's a tie-in here to life, really. That she saw life positively, and she was determined. And I think in life, she had a song in her heart to sing. And so we gather today, and as we do, I think there's a bit of a collision of emotions that we feel. Because in one sense, while we are here to celebrate her life, we're also here to grieve together. And nowhere did you see at the front there's a sign that says, please leave sad thoughts in the car or at home and just come and think happy thoughts today. Because that's not how God has wired us. As we are wired whole, we grieve as well. And I think that it's important that we acknowledge that today and that we grieve as a community today. We have lost someone incredibly important in our lives. We stop and we think about this. We recognize this. And that it's hard. I would imagine that in some ways this is both overwhelming and also surreal. We struggle to come to grips with the reality that Brenda is not here with us, even as she has passed away just over a month ago. I'm guessing that her passing and our presence here today brings up questions in general about humanity's struggle, our pain that we face, disease, mortality, and I think in times like this, we often have to look at our own lives. We don't grieve for strangers nearly as much as we do grieve for the ones that we love. Author Jandy Nelson once wrote this, and I really appreciate it. She said, grief is forever. It doesn't go away, it just becomes a part of you, step for step and breath for breath. That's just how it is. Grief and love are conjoined. You don't get one without the other. For myself, I'm glad that grief is forever. I don't think it will always look like tears and sadness. I think sometimes it can look like happiness and laughing at stories and memories and just remembering. But it means that Brenda goes with us every day of our lives for the rest of our days here on earth. We don't just get over grief. We walk through it every single day. And in that, I want to say to Arlene and to Brendan and your family that on behalf of all of us here, our hearts go out to you. Our condolences in the deepest regard to you in your loss, as you process not only in the last month, but in the months to come as well. Well, as I mentioned, there's a collision of emotions. The one is grief, but I also want to say that while we grieve, the other part of the collision is that we have this immense sense of gratitude today for how Brenda lived her life. And I would imagine that we felt this gratitude long before today, but today allows us to even recognize it even more, to open our eyes even a little bit more to just how grateful we are for her. You're going to hear about her from a number of people today, all with unique vantage points into her life and from people who have been near and dear to her heart. And in all of today, here's my hope, is that we don't just hear some information today, but rather we all have this chance to take a deep breath, to listen, to learn, and also be inspired from how Brenda lived her life. And so for all of this and so much more, we gladly stop today. We gladly put everything else aside, and we focus our heads and our hearts on this dear woman. Well, in a few moments, I want to take a moment to pray, a prayer of thanksgiving for Brenda. But before I do, I want to read just a portion of Scripture. Because I was told that Brenda had a deep faith in God, and that her faith was like a thread woven into every season of her life. She believed in a God who loved her deeply for who she was. And I have a feeling that she knew Psalm 23, which is what I want to read today. It was written by a man named David. If you know the story of David and Goliath, this is the boy David who grows up to be King David. And I want you to hear the imagery that he uses to describe God. It's one of a shepherd. Now, in New West or the Lower Mainland in 2025, we don't see very many shepherds around us. It's not a very popular vocation. But it was in the time of biblical times, because people took care of their flocks so well. They knew them, they learned about them, and they cared deeply for them. And I think in a way, this talks about Brenda's heart as well. And so this is Psalm 23. The Lord is my shepherd. He gives me everything I need. He lets me lie down in fields of green grass. He leads me beside quiet waters. He guides me on the right paths for the honor of his name. Even though I walk through the darkest valley, I will not be afraid, for you, God, you are with me. Your shepherd's rod and staff bring comfort to me. You prepare a feast for me right in front of my enemies. You pour oil on my head, and my cup runs over. Surely your goodness and love will follow me all the days of my life, and I will dwell in the house of the Lord forever. Forever. Would you join me as I pray and give thanks? And so, Heavenly Father, we stop this morning. We try to kind of quieten everything else around us in our lives. And as we focus on Brenda this morning, God, I want to just say thank you so much for her life. Thank you in the deepest sense of this word for how she has been such an amazing mother, grandmother, friend, neighbor, someone who has lived her life outwards instead of inwards, and who has chosen time and time again to be a blessing to the people around her. And so, God, every single one of us here, and I know there are so many more, we now live in the wake of her choosing to be a blessing. In other words, our lives are so much better because of her. And so today we stop and say thank you, and we gladly celebrate her life. In Jesus' name we pray. Amen. Amen. Well, I have the privilege now of introducing people who are going to come up and share. And I want to start off by inviting Ed Payne, who is both Brenda's son-in-law, Arlene's husband, and his sister, Louise.
Good afternoon, everyone. As announced, my name is Ed Payne, Brenda's son-in-law, but to most, Brenda says I'm like a son, not a son-in-law. I met Brenda almost 45 years ago when I met Arlene. And back then I was a young teenager. And I met her at a concert when Kellyanne came to Canada. Arlene brought me to meet her mom, and me being this young boy, had my jacket open, the shirt button down to here. And Brenda looked at me and she goes, "Boy, you ain't got no hair on your chest." From that moment, I knew Brenda and I would get along just fine. Because she can give as well as she can take. Very funny. As long as you get to know Brenda and you understand she is very funny, she said things and she always making a joke of it. A few years later, when I proposed to Arlene, I wrote Brenda a letter asking for her hand in marriage. And I said to her, "You're not losing a daughter, but you're gaining an older son." And over the years, Brenda has been like a mother to me, not a mother-in-law. And more times than one, we talk a lot of conversations. I'll go visit her with Arlene. We just sit down and we talk. We pour our hearts out to each other. And when my mom was sick and dying, she went with me to see my mom in the hospital. And she said to my mom, "You can go in peace. Don't worry about Edward. I'll take care of him." And she was true to her word. She always watched out for me and treated me like a son. She was funny, but she was always giving. Brenda was the kind of person, she's willing to give you the shirt off her back, but she doesn't like to accept help. Every time you offer help, she says, "No, I'm fine." But she's quick to give you whatever you ask for it. She can be the light of the room. She go to the party when she could have danced or stand up. She was always on the dance floor. And when she couldn't stand up to dance, she's sitting in the chair, and she'll walk that chair out. You say, she's just partying in that chair. She loved her partying and the music. That's the kind of Brenda I know, I will love and respected. She will always be a part of my heart. And she always says, "I never have to worry about my daughter because you are taking care of her." And that was a promise I made to her. I will always look after Arlene. Even though I never told Arlene that, but it was something between Brenda and I. I would always watch it for Arlene. I know she's gone. She's gone in the flesh, but she's not gone in the heart and the spirit. Like the priest says, every day we go through, something will happen that will cause us to remember Brenda and call her name. So we not got to remember the sorrow, but we try to remember the joy, the laughter, the fun. That's what she wants us to take with us as we go along. She might be gone for now, and we will follow sometime later, but she's always with us in our heart. However she touches, and each one of us here can see she touched in a special way. Differently, but in a special way. That's why you're here today, to celebrate her life. Not to mourn a lot, she goes, "Yes, you mourn," but to celebrate the life that I live and the impact I had on you. Remember the good times, the fun times, and enjoy. We'll meet again sometime. My sisters.
Hello, my name is Louis Payne, Ed brother, Arlene sister. I met I met Brenda through Ed and Arlene. She was a wonderful person. Sometimes she might rub people the wrong way. Like my brother will say, she's just like you, she's blunt. If you cannot handle it, then you got a problem. But when you leave her, you knew exactly how she feel. It was how you interpret it. If you take it personally, at least like I tell people, it's better to know where you stand with somebody than they put a nice front and behind your back they say something else. The bluntness might hurt, but you get over it. But when the lie come out, you're still hurting. So she was a wonderful person, like Ed said. She knew how to give because she came from that old school. They give, but they didn't know how to accept. But when you offered, she never refused. So to the family, Brandon and Aline, I'll say to you all, as you go through life, your mom might be gone physically, but mentally and spiritually, she'll live with you the rest of your life. As you sit there, the memories you have, the best gift we could leave for anybody is the memories we create. That is priceless. It's better to have good memories. My memories might not be yours. Your memory might not be mine. We both have a different way of remembering her. So physically, we're saying goodbye. But spiritually, as you look through life, when life hit rock, bring your hand up, rub the genie box. She comes alive because she lives within you. That you could never get rid of till the day you lie. So hold on to that memory. She's only resting. You'll meet her again one day. So have that, and in the book, keep unity. Keep that love she wanted you all to have. Find that way to bond, because that is priceless. Have a nice day.
Well, thank you to the both of you. I honestly could not say any of that better myself. So thank you so much. And I love how you describe Brenda. In my mind, as you're talking, I'm like, that doesn't sound very Canadian, because we just kind of like try to say nice things, even though we don't necessarily, feel it. But I love that she was refreshingly herself. And I think something to actually learn for all of us is just to actually speak who we are and speak our truth. So thank you again for both of you. All right. Next, I want to invite Kenrick Headley to come up. Kenrick not only is playing the steel pans over there, but also a very good friend of the family. And thank you for sharing today.
Thank you very much. I'm going to go with a little bit of joke, so bear with me. I knew, not Brenda, but I knew the husband in Trinidad when we were both playing and arranging for music for the band. So I left Trinidad and lived in Los Angeles for 5 years. And when I get back to Trinidad, my brother said to me, I hear you're going to Canada. I said, yes. He said, well, somebody in Canada that taught me. And I said, who? And he really didn't give me the last name, so I can't say the name. Anyhow, when I came here, in '86, my brother just finished his master's degree in music and was employed at the University of Trinidad as the lecturer and the head of the department in the music department. So I gave him a holiday, say come up and for his musical achievement. And we went out, and I think it was at some one of the functions, not to bear in mind which one, and Brenda was there. Brenda and Boots was there. And we sat down and talking, and then I came and I introduced my brother to Boots, Otto. And he looked over and he said, "Miss?" And she said, "Who are you?" And then he mentioned the name, and she said, "Yes." So she had taught my brother in Trinidad, all right? But beside that, I had a little problem with Brenda. So it's, no, it's not bad. Don't go like that. So in 1973, I came here twice. I came here in 1969, 1971, first playing at the Peony, and then the second time playing at the Queen Elizabeth Theater with Liberace. So I looked and I was staying at a friend's home, and there was a party. So 3 bands were going to play. Moonlighters, Serenaders, and I think Boots Band at the time was Coffee Dregs. So I was the one answering the phone at the house. So everybody that called, ladies, gentlemen, for tickets. So I keep answering the phone. So there was this special phone call that came in, and it was a lady. And she said, "You sound new." And I want to know why would she say that? Maybe she talked to the other guys and them. Anyhow, she said, "When I come to the party, I would like to meet you. I just come up here." So she don't know me. So when we got to the party, the band played. We come and we sat down. And then this lady came up and said, are you the gentleman that lived at the house where I was phoning? And I said, "Yes." And I was sitting next to Brenda. And Brenda looked at me and said, "Ooh, you lucky guy." And then another lady came up next to her and said, "Oh, this is the guy you're talking about." And the lady said, "Yes." So we're 3 sisters. Am I that lucky? Listen, I was glad Brenda was there. Because Brenda looked at the 3 of them and said, "They all look like 300 years." So she really kind of helped me out that night, you know. But beside that, we have had interaction with Brenda, with my family, you know. And as I say, Boots and myself being in the pan music, every time we had something, we'll go over by Brenda's home. And when there's a party, she would be there. Like the children and them picked up her slack, and they would be partying. But to really kind of end off, she was a beautiful lady. She had very good spirit. I never see her vex. I hear they say that she don't go near to her, but I never see her vex. My interaction with her is always very nice, cordial. That is what I will think about Brenda. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Kenrick. When we spoke in the foyer before the service, I just said, "Thank you so much for playing today." And he just looked at me and said, "It's family, of course." And so thank you for everything today. Next, I want to invite Drusilla Evans. Drusilla was a coworker with Brenda, and also a really good friend. So thank you so much for coming today, too.
Thank you. Good morning to everybody. My name is Drusilla Evans, and I've known Brenda for a very long time. We first were co-workers. I know her right due to the nursing program. We were first co-workers, and then we become good friends. Brenda too short. Yeah, we became good friends and fellow members of a group, Thelma Gibson, deceased, and we used to have a lot of fun. Brenda was, as everybody saying, very kind, joyful, and helpful person. You could always count on her, especially when we needed support with the group. She loved to sing and dance and tell stories of her youthful days. And we enjoyed it. If you come in and everybody quiet and the room is silent, Brenda will think of something to make somebody laugh. So I remember her as that pleasant person. The great joy of her, she was telling us about her neighborhood while she was a child, growing up, a youth. She loved to sing and dance. So she went around, get the kids in the neighborhood, tell them to come and dance, offer them some little menial things so they will dance. And then she'll break out in a big laugh, unforgettable laugh that she had. But she would come back and say, let me show you the main thing in the dance. And what she'll do, she'll show how she wind up. and she would bust out a laugh. And then the room come light again. That is how I remember Brenda. When I think of Brenda, the first thing come to me is her laughter. It was very contagious and full of life. One of our favorite conversation was about what she's going to cook that day. And she's tasting it, and she didn't even put it on the stove as yet. But it's tasting so good, and I can't stay too long. I have to go and cook this food. So I'd say, okay. And she loved West Indian cooking, and she will start a clean conversation about cooking and what she would do, and that was it. I would say, okay. The last time I spoke to her, she promised that when I get back from my holidays, we will have a big picnic in the backyard. And she laughed, and she said, safe trip. And I repeat, bye. I never imagined that would be the final goodbye that I will be saying to her. I truly hope she is in a resting, peaceful, happy place. None of us know where we go after we leave this earth. But if there is a happy place, I hope she finds it and she's enjoying it. I hope she's among us right now, listening, because she would laugh. She knew when she started to tell me about her dance, and we would believe. So anyway, my love for Brenda would never fail. She's gone, but to me, she is still here. And I hope that that place, some of us, not all of us, believe there is a happy place after life. I hope it really is, and I hope she finds it. And with that, I wouldn't stay too long. I would say goodbye to Brenda. At the count of 3, I would say bye-bye, Brenda. 1, 2, 3. Join me if you want. Goodbye, Brenda. Okay, thanks, everybody.
Drusilla, thank you so much for honoring your friend so well today. And as you talked about her dancing, I thought you were going to start to break out into a dance. So,
I would if I could.
okay. I was going to invite you to do something right now, but we'll maybe wait for the reception for that. But thank you so much for sharing today. Well, as you see, Brenda's had a lot of really good friends, and I have the privilege of introducing a few more here. Next to share is Ingrid Selman. And Ingrid, thank you so much for coming to share today.
Well, my hardened friend, you finally did it. But she lived her life under her own rule. Today I am going to share some memories with Brenda that I will keep forever in my heart. The first thing is Brenda loved to play card. When we have a card line at TNT, you hear no sound. The only time you hear sound is when somebody hangs somebody jack. When you say, come and eat, Brenda say, pack mine, I could take it away. She ain't even have time to eat the way she playing card. The only time I hear Brenda singing is when Carl start to play an old tune. Man, she sit down there, and what she know, she make up. She sing till she heart content. Another thing is Brenda and Sylvia, the Seattle trip, a sensate. We had so much fun on the Seattle trip. We sing all the way. We sing songs that I from Trinidad never heard. But I found out because she interact with all the islands, she pick up all the songs. Well, at one said bus trip, Brenda decided to have a party in her room. Now, you know how big her apartment, how big that room is. 2-bedroom. You can't invite the whole boss. Don't ask me where Brenda get all this alcohol. She shared the room now with someone else. She never mentioned she having the bus inside. All I could hear, shut your phones and go to sleep, you old hole. Shut your... But Brenda, you never tell me you're going to have a party. Shut up and go to sleep. We finally get the thing, we should leave early. And yeah, Brenda, no, we still have more drinks. That was the other one. Brenda, we all belong to a group called United Carnival Club. We danced with everybody. We had street parade, we went to old folks' home. We traveled the whole of Vancouver in our parade. One said parade, I think it was a teddy bear picnic. It rained. When did I tell you it rained? I told everybody, take off your headpiece and put it inside the car so the feathers don't get wet. Brenda, Sylvia, which we call Granny, Yvonne, and Pauline, and Dennis. They're from the Caribbean. Rain don't do them anything. They dance the whole parade in the rain. Now, if you're from the Caribbean, close your eye and picture 5 wet chickens with one rooster that is in the middle. It never stopped them. They enjoyed the whole parade. Brenda loved to cook. All of you know how Brenda loved to cook. If you go in the park, she always have food for you. Come. When I realized how much Brenda loved to cook, when Boots passed away, we had 2 celebrations of life. One inside the church and one in the parking lot. The food was inside Brenda's trunk. You don't tell Brenda, don't bring no food. She bring in she food, she cook in she food, and it was in the trunk. I felt like I went to the beach, in the car park, and all the food coming out the trunk, and we sit down and eating. We always had Brenda volunteering. She volunteered with me a couple of times. She volunteered at the Caribbean Days Festival. I had her with me in the kids section, and she always made everybody drop something in that donation box before they come in. Then I had her in the information booth. She loved to talk about Trinidad, and she loved to talk about her country. She enjoyed that so much. Brenda was a person who supported everybody, every organization. Whether she was crawling or she couldn't walk, she would go there. The last time I saw Brenda was for the Caricon picnic. I look up on the hill and I see this person pushing a walker coming. Let me wait a minute. That's Brenda. Don't know how she got down the hill, but she made it down the hill. I went across and take some. Hey, she put it in a bag here. I have a little bag here. Put it in a bag. I will miss Brenda, but you know what? I remember the good times we had, and I will treasure that. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Ingrid. I love that you can see a theme that's developing with both music and food being talked about a bit. And in case you're wondering, yes, there will be food at the reception after the service. I don't think Brenda would allow us to have it any other way. Next, I want to invite another very dear friend to Brenda, Sabrina Hawthorne. Sabrina, would you come today?
You guys give me time. I need some time. Okay. I'm very emotional. I'm a softie. I met Brenda in 1992. She lived a hop, skip, and a jump from me. I met her with Arlene one day. We were going to see my girlfriend, my neighbor, whose daughter is here right now. We were going to see the houses, and we cut through Brenda's brook. And Arlene was with Shania. Shania was little. And I was with my daughter. And we went up with Brenda and Arlene, and Brenda says, "Oh, what a pretty little girl," to my daughter. And from that day, she says, "I live here, you could come and visit." Well, I never had any Caribbean friend in Coquitlam yet, so here was my chance. So I went and visited. I didn't refuse the visit. And we became good friends from then. We did everything. She introduced me to most of the people in this room. We went dancing at the Commodore. We would sing in my van all the way to the Commodore. We were singing, playing the CDs. Then we would go to the banquets, and we did everything together. I would leave my husband at home. Brenda will call me. "Sabrina, I cook. Come over." So I will leave Larry and says, "You got to find food yourself." I'm going by Brenda to eat. She made me cuckoo. And I love cuckoo, so she would always say, "I make cuckoo today." So I would go over and spend time with her.
I just used to go over and sit there with her lots of times, and we would talk. I don't know what we talked about, or she'd be watching a game, and I'm not a games person. And then she'll tell me, oh, the Canucks, they raised me up, and then they dropped me like anything. They've lost the game now. No more games. This time I'm sleeping, because I'm just sitting, she's watching the game, and then when I wake up, then we'll laugh, oh, I slept through the game. We did so much together. The singing and the laughter, I will always remember. We went on holidays, and the day before Larry and I left, I spoke to her on the phone. She said, you guys have a good trip. She spoke to Larry, she says, you guys take care, have a good trip. I says, I'll see you when I come back. I never expected this to happen. But I will miss her, I will remember her, and I will see her again. I know that. We never said goodbye. We always say, we will talk again. We'll talk. That's how we always parted. So my friend, rest in peace. And I pray that you have peace, no more pain. And I will see you again, and we will talk. Take care. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Sabrina. Tells me that Brenda became a true Canucks fan, understanding the roller coaster of all of that. But also your emotion reminds us that we can laugh today and we can cry. We can celebrate and we grieve at the same time, so thank you. Two more good friends wish to come and share today. That is Monifa Allende and Claudia Modesto.
He put in new batteries because he knows I'm going to be speaking for a very long time. Brenda, what can I say? I met Brenda a very long time ago. But in 1998, we, the Grenadian Cultural Association, we decided in 1998 to form an association. We had very few members, or very few Grenadians, as you know. But Brenda, being Trinidadian, said, oh, I'm an honorary Grenadian, I'll join. I guess she was an honorary Grenadian because of Ed. Her son. Brenda was the secretary of our association. And when she joined, the members, we all welcomed her. But we didn't have to because she was the one welcoming us. When she volunteered, we thought she was going to be, oh, well, I'll do it for a little while. But not Brenda. Her volunteering spirit was right there. She made sure that she was going to keep us in check. With her infectious laugh, her ability to make everything seems normal. She was efficient, and she had the ability to speak her mind, as she always reminded us. When I speak my mind, I don't care who say what they want. Those were her words. When we were asked to be part of a band for Caribbean Days, most of the people, including most of the people were older than I was, but Brenda, we were very skeptical. Some of the more mature ladies started complaining, no, 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 we can't do this. People gonna laugh at us. When we put on our costumes, oh, we cannot do this. Miss Brenda gave a pep talk to us. If my mind serves me right, her talk went something like this. What's the matter with all you? If you can laugh at yourself, then the people laugh at you on the street. Don't worry, because you're already laughing at yourself anyways. She said, if you cannot walk, just walk part of the way, then get on the truck. She said, I'm planning to be on the truck anyway, so because with my foot, she goes, I'm gonna walk half the way. Well, after the pep talk, everybody signed up. And the only person who got on the truck was Brenda. We would miss her. But besides being my friend, I'd like to say on behalf of the executive and members of the Grenadian Cultural Association, we offer to the family our blessings, comfort, and love. She was such a wonderful person. When I saw her last August, she said to me, next year you better bring some good pilau. I said, no, I'll bring some. I said, I'll bring some oxtail. She goes, you could cook oxtail? Well, we will miss her. But there's this little poem that I wanted to read. Those we love don't go away. They walk beside us every day. Unseen, unheard, but always near. Still loved, still missed, and very dear. In Brenda's case, that part, we're gonna always hear her. We can never miss that voice. Thank you, family, for sharing her with us. Thank you.
Thank you to the both of you. I love that we get to learn or maybe resonate more with Brenda's personality here as we've heard friends. And as I said at the beginning, it's not just a sharing of information, it's hopefully for us to listen and also be inspired. And so we're hearing a lot of things I think that can inspire us as we move on from today as well. We have two more people to come and share today. The first is Rick Lopez. Another good friend of Brenda's is Molly Lopez. Molly has passed away, and Rick is Molly's son and is going to be sharing kind of on behalf of the family today. So thank you, Rick.
Good afternoon, everyone. My name is Rick Lopez, and we are gathered here today to celebrate the life of a truly remarkable woman, Brenda. As I stand here, I can't help but think of the incredible friendship Brenda shared with my mom. It's hard to think about one without thinking about the other. My mom, who took so much pride in her Trinidadian roots, 100% Trini through and through, found Brenda a kindred spirit. They shared a love for all the best parts of life: the food, the music, the dancing, and the festivals, and the pure joy of celebrating their culture. If there is a Trinidadian, Caribbean, or West Indian celebration happening anywhere, and I mean anywhere, you can be sure Brenda and my mom were already plotting on how to get there. It didn't matter if the party was in Edmonton, Maple Ridge, Surrey, Burnaby, or North Vancouver. They would find a way to be there. I'll never forget the time my mom called to say she and Brenda were hopping on a bus to Edmonton for a Caravana celebration. Roles got reversed, and I instantly became the concerned parent, asking, "What are you doing?" And throughout their trip, I was constantly texting her, worried sick, when she wouldn't respond, because let's be honest, neither of them were exactly tech savvy with cell phones, and they were too busy partying it up. But of course, they had an amazing time. They dressed up, they played mass, and I'm sure, just like always, they were the life of the party, dancing, laughing, and soaking up every single moment. And when it came to Caribbean festivals, my mom always made sure to bring her homemade rotis, a real labor of love. But there was one special roti that was always put aside. It was like it was locked in a safe, the one for Brenda. One year, I felt like roti number 2, and I remember reaching over, and my mom always took my arm off because it was Brenda's roti. It was a given. Mom would carefully pack it and make sure, no matter how busy the festival got, that she found Brenda to hand it over to her personally. That little gesture says so much about their friendship. It was built on love, care, tradition, and always looking out for each other. One of my favorite memories is from when Byron Lee and the Dragonaires would come and play at the Commodore Ballroom. I'd be there with my mom and some friends, and during the show, they would always ask, "Hey, where did your mom and her friend go?" The answer was always the same. She's right up front, in the thick of the crowd, jumping up, getting on bad, with Brenda right beside her. And when I would eventually find them, both of them would have the biggest smiles on their face you'd ever see. That's how I'll always remember Brenda. Full of life, full of laughter, full of love. She was more than a friend to my mom. She was a sister in spirit, a partner in every joyful adventure. Brenda, on behalf of my family, I want to say thank you. Thank you for being such an incredible friend to my mom. Thank you for the joy you brought into her life, for the memories you helped create, and for the bond you shared that meant so much to her and to all of us. And I know right now the two of you are up there together again, enjoying a roti and already planning for the next big party together. Rest in peace, Brenda. You'll be deeply missed, but never, ever forgotten. Thank you.
Thank you, Rick. Sounds to me like they were like kids, in a sense, worrying about them on trips, up at the front of concerts, and as you described so well, Rick, full of life. It's so good to hear, so thank you so much for that. Well, to close off our sharing time today, two of the most important people in Brenda's life. I want to invite Arlene and Brendan to come and share today.
Good day, everybody. Thank you for being here. Okay. My mother was an angel. She was kind to a fault. She would help anyone who needed it, even at her own sacrifice. As a child, I was never left wanting for anything. She would perform her magic and make it happen for me. She supported me through my sports endeavors of soccer and BMX racing. She was there for me throughout my trials and tribulations, my sorrow, my hurt, and my pain. She would make everything all right. She was an excellent cook. She could take a few random ingredients and make a masterpiece. She loved to sing and dance, and she was always humming a tune. She had a very robust and positive energy. It was hard to watch her deteriorate in her elder years. She suffered from bouts of dementia and many other ailments, including breast cancer, but her spirit never died. She remained positive and continued to support her family members in Trinidad. Although she should have been in a care home where she could be around others and be monitored 24/7, she was fiercely independent. She refused the help and insisted on living alone. She would often say that she intended to die in her own home. Unfortunately, that is exactly what happened. I regret not being there for her in her moment of need. Nobody should die alone. I know though that she was not alone. The good Lord was there with her to guide her to her rightful place in heaven. I love and I miss my mother very much. She will remain in my thoughts and my heart forever. Thank you.
Okay. Well, there's not much that I can say that hasn't already been said, except for she meant a lot to a lot of people. And I'd just like my kids to come up and stand here with us. You don't have to say anything. I know you're not ready, but my daughter, Shania, son Jordan, son Jeffrey, and his daughter, Aaliyah. Anyway, as we stand here, this is what she lived for. They're sporting events. They said never attend. They can attest. She's offered to take out my daughter's competition at track meets. Stick her cane out, trip them up so they can't race against her. She sat there with the boys when they played soccer, and saying, oh, who's up there? Who do you want me to get? Who should I go after? And then she'll be holding on there, and you sit there, and she'll be kicking the ball along, but kicking whoever is beside her instead of the ball. Remember that? Anyway, and as my brother said, she lived life the way she wanted to. She went out the way she wanted to. And there's nothing that anyone was going to say that was going to change her mind, which I guess, take notes, because they say I'm like that, so. But anyway, I look out and I say thank you to everyone here for coming and helping us celebrate my mother's life as she passes on. Thank you.
Thank you guys so much. You are a beautiful family. And Arlene, as you said, the apple doesn't fall far from the tree. So I'm sure. Brendan, I want to just say to you and to Arlene, I know that in this last season of life, it's been difficult to see her physically decline. And I hope that you've heard today that our life is whole. Well, when we see it, we don't just think of one season, but it's actually the whole arc of our lives. And that you've heard so many testimonies today of how much your mom has impacted people. And I think it's beautiful to have a community come and share and celebrate and laugh and cry together. To be honest, I've led some services where no one shares. And I just look at this and I hear so many people sharing stories, and I know all of you have more stories to share. And it just goes to show the impact that Brenda has had on each of you, and so many more who couldn't be here today too. And the last thing I just want to say is I love that she impacted you as a mom, as a grandmother, great-grandmother. All of those roles were not just easy for her. Not to say that you were hard kids, but they were not easy for her, because when we spoke, you said that actually she went through a lot in her life. And she overcame a lot in her life. There's a quote here that I'd written. I wanted just to share it. It's by an activist. She's passed away now, but Maya Angelou. And she said, "We may encounter many defeats, but we must not be defeated." And I think that's so Brenda, from what I got to know of her, that she did encounter many defeats, but as you've heard, her spirit never changed. Her body may have, but her spirit never did. And so I think we think of these things. And Ed and Louise, I go back to what you guys shared. I cannot do it justice, because you guys shared so well about us remembering that her spirit lives on so much in our lives. We remember this today. And we are thankful, we grieve, and we continue to bring Brenda into our present every moment as we leave from here. And we do so gladly, and we do so by honoring her life. And so I want to just say again at the closing of this portion of our service, thank you for coming today. Thank you for taking time out of your Monday to honor such a beautiful life and to grieve and to celebrate together. I want to let you know immediately following, there is a reception, as I mentioned, in the next room. We're going to have some music and we're going to have some food, of course. Both of those things are very important today. There will also be a slideshow that is played at some point there as well, of just reflecting on Brenda through some pictures of her life and seasons and with people that she's loved. So if you can, please stay for a little bit. Whenever you need to go, the family understands and just wants to say thank you again so much for coming and to make today what it is and for honoring a dear woman. I want to invite you just to remain seated. Danny, our funeral director, is going to come and he's going to bring the family out first. They're going to form a receiving line in the foyer. And as you are all dismissed, you're more than welcome to go through, just share your condolences, give them a hug, and if you can, to stay for a little bit as well. Thank you, everyone, for coming. Blessings and peace as you go today. Just remain seated.
Up there, I said, yeah, I said,
Since I have been talking by myself, I feel that's it. Forever, and then here. Oh, so you're just gonna pass it? Yes, yes. How are you? There she is. Yes. Oh,
I'm a brother. No problem.
I know it's not the last go this way. Then we see the and the daughter's here, so you can say hello. I
you got it right there. Oh, yeah, okay. You're blocking up the bathroom. Yes.
Are you going to give your condolences?
don't think I've ever heard that before.
Was it July?
Oh, yes. I can say
Yeah.
Are you young?
The boys, no. David and Peter, Jocelyn, boys are here. Yeah.